Good morning, Ms. Venkatachalam. It's a great honor to have you here. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. As we all know, the Asian region has been playing an increasingly important role in the global economy in recent years. Does the Asian Development Bank view this trend as sustainable?
First of all, thank you, Mr. Isataya, for giving me this opportunity to exchange a few words with you. And let me also say that how pleased I am to make my first visit to your very beautiful country on the occasion of the Foreign Investors Council meeting, which takes place tomorrow. Thank you for that very relevant question on the sort of potential and the role of the Asian region as we go forward into the 21st century, and whether the ADB views this development as sustainable. Well, the facts are out there. The Asian region did, in fact, showcase a remarkable recovery from the recent financial crisis, and we in ADB do believe that this growth trend is sustainable. It has been basically predicated on very robust economic fundamentals, which include high savings and investment rates, openness to foreign trade, technology, investment in education and human capital, and also fairly flexible labor markets, sound monetary and fiscal policies in varying degrees across the region. We are quite optimistic about developing Asia's midterm growth prospects. You're aware that the region's growth in the last 1 year, in 2010, was about 8.6%, and going forward, ADB forecasts that GDP growth in 2011 will be of the order of 7%. However, there are very important challenges that the region has to face, and something that policymakers and all other stakeholders will have to be aware of, and that is the Asian region needs to rebalance its sources of economic growth by generating more domestic demand without, of course, losing track of its export strengths. Secondly, the growth strategies have to be made stable and inclusive, and finally these all have to be environmentally sustainable. So basically, going forward, we need to look at solid growth, we need to look at sustainable growth, and thirdly, we have to look at overall inclusive growth.
Let's talk now about your activities in Kazakhstan. Recently, Asian Development Bank signed a $500 million loan program in support of small and medium-sized enterprises in Kazakhstan. Could you please elaborate more on this program?
Well, I think it's the recent very innovative instrument that we signed, which was a $500 million MFF, was a shared recognition between the government and the ADB that the small and medium enterprises are a very, very important pillar of a growing economy like that of Kazakhstan, and also the sort of recognition that we need to move away from a purely resource-based growth to a growth that is predicated on highly productive enterprises which are into various competitive sectors in terms of manufacturing or services. And we see therefore the SME as a key engine of economic diversification, which is exactly what the government, I believe, is pursuing, and it will facilitate the all-important requirement of job-oriented growth. So we look at this as an avenue that will provide stability to the growth of the economy going forward. You may be also aware that the SME facility has certain innovative features attached to it. First of all, this is going to be a loan in local currency, the ADB will also be providing a fixed interest loan. So it'll be a fixed interest, medium term, local currency denominated loan, and this will eliminate both the foreign exchange risk and also the interest rate mismatch for the participating banks and the SMEs who are the recipients of this loan. This loan, of course, is being funded through our sovereign window to the government, which in turn will be given to the banks, who in turn will forward it, will on-lend it to the small and medium enterprises.
In this context, let me ask you, how do you assess Kazakhstan's economic performance in recent years?
We have to first congratulate the government for the way in which they steered the recovery of the economy post-crisis. You have exhibited what was also seen in many other parts of Asia, which was a very smart V-shaped recovery, and inflation was also contained, and the fiscal deficit also narrowed down to about 2.5%. We must say that a lot of this has been underpinned by the improvement of the global economic conditions, which has led to a revival of the demand for Kazakhstan's oil and minerals. But then, as I just mentioned, we see a very promising potential in the growth of the SME sector, which we hope to partner with you in terms of this facility that has just been approved. We also would like to commend the government's special recognition to the private sector. ADB, in its own strategy 2020, has recognized the private sector to be the engine of growth, particularly to meet the huge infrastructure needs of the region. And going forward, we do look for, we would be very eager to partner with you in the development of the role of the private sector and its diversification to various to meet various infrastructure needs of the economy, particularly energy. I also feel that the government faces quite a few challenges going forward in terms of sustaining and accelerating this growth pattern. Kazakhstan is now poised at a very interesting stage of its economic growth. Your per capita income is around $9,000 US, and I think you are really you now need to look at the growth trajectory, which will make you escape what is called the middle income trap, which has besieged several Asian economies, and your focus on the new program of innovative growth, your accelerated industrial and innovative growth, I think holds a lot of promise in terms of the way forward in the future. I'd like to commend the government of Kazakhstan for this bold initiative.
Thank you very much for the interview, and I wish you every success.